So, in a couple of my shorts that I published recently, I talked about the words yet and still. In this video, I'm going to go into them in a little bit more detail so you can see how each of them work individually and how you can use them together kind of like as opposites. So let's start with yet. We tend to use yet with the present perfect, and we often use it to talk about something that hasn't happened but that we think will happen in the future. So a nice easy example, I'm looking out of my window here in England. It is raining. I want the rain to stop, so I can say the rain hasn't stopped yet. I hope it will happen in the future. If, for example, you're studying English for an exam like IELTS or TOEIC or TOEFL, you could say, oh, I haven't passed my exam yet. Maybe I will pass it next week. Yeah. So we tend to use the present perfect, and it tends to refer to things that we think or we hope will happen in the future. Now, still is kind of like the opposite of yet. So yet is for something that hasn't happened, but we think it will happen in the future. Still is for something that is happening that we think will probably stop in the future. If I use my rain example again, I can look out of my window and go, oh, it's still raining. I hope it stops later. If we're talking about English language examples, I talked about IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, etc. In the last example, we could say, oh, I haven't passed IELTS or I haven't passed TOEIC. I am still studying. Now, there's loads of examples where you can use the two together to show the opposite. And it's a good way of showing you understand the situation. It's a really nice way of making your language look good, particularly if you are taking an exam like IELTS and you need to show good structure in your language. For example, you can say something like, oh, the bus hasn't arrived yet. I am still waiting. Yep. We could also say something like, and this one is my favorite, my wife is still pregnant. She hasn't had the baby yet. So the key thing to remember for each of them, number one, with yet we use the present perfect, and number two, with still, we tend to use the present continuous a lot, but we can also use adjectives and a few other structures. And when we compare the two, yet is for something that hasn't happened but will happen in the future, whereas still is for something that is happening and we think will stop in the future. I hope you like this video. If you do, please give it a like and a subscribe. Any questions, please ask them in the comments below. Thank you. Bye-bye.